Hi, I'm Dakota, and this is my IGTV series, Practice With Me, Episode 3. I'm going to talk about my favorite tools in the practice room. My first favorite tool has to be a mirror. I really hate practicing without a mirror because it's so useful to see what you're doing from a different perspective. The most obvious example is having a straight bow, right? So if you're looking down at your bow from up here, what is actually straight does not look straight from this point of view. But if you have a mirror in front of you and you're holding your violin up like this, you can see what is straight. And that's just one example of a ton of things that you can use the mirror for. Another could be to understand what kind of body movements you're doing and memorizing them, really understanding what you're doing to create the sound and the tone that you want out of your instrument. My second favorite tool is, well, it depends. It's a recording device. So if I'm home, I'll typically use my Sony camera with either a Rode mic or a Blue Yeti. If I'm out, I will use my phone, and I have another mic for my phone. I'll put the details in the caption. And a tripod for that. So this is really useful in the same way that the mirror is, to look back later and see how you sound, or hear how you sound, see what kind of movements you're making, and having that documentation to understand what you want to change, what you want to keep, what you liked. That's a very useful tool. Most people, I think, use their phones nowadays, although I am debating starting to move over to other devices, because there are studies out there that say even if your phone is on Do Not Disturb or airplane mode, it can be distracting, just its presence. So I bought, and this is my third favorite tool, a separate metronome. It's a pretty obvious tool in the practice room. It's very useful to keep time, to make sure your rhythm is in place and you're not rushing, which is similar to my fourth favorite tool, which is your voice, actually. My voice I use for multiple things. One is counting and playing out loud. Eventually you get used to the counting and playing, and you can do this internally, although it helps because in an intense anxiety producing situation like a performance, it's easy for you to start to lose touch with your speed and start rushing, and counting and practicing, or playing while practicing, helps you to feel grounded. If you can do that, you can pretty much stay consistent, or how you want to, the speed you want to be at on stage. So that, plus I use my voice for intonation. I sing sometimes the notes that I'm trying to aim for next. I also ask my students to do the same thing with counting and playing and singing the pitches. It really helps to internalize the pitch, the key signature, so you use your voice to solidify what's coming. Again, this can eventually be done internally as well, but it's good to start out loud. So the voice is a very useful tool, and not many people think that or use it necessarily. Maybe people do, let me know. Another favorite tool is the score. I always keep the score with me while I'm practicing because it's great to refer to in terms of analyzing where your part is the most important compared to the other parts, or the accompaniment, what kind of phrase you want to make, the overall structure, the harmonic structure of the piece. It's good to know these things and to have the score with you to analyze as you're practicing. My last favorite tool is coffee. I always like to have coffee in the practice room. It helps me stay focused. I'm just a really big coffee fan. It's good to keep your environment as comfortable as possible, and having little rituals like that not only help you get into the practice room, but keep you focused along the way. It is good to switch things up now and then, but mostly you want to keep your environment comfortable and familiar. At least for me. I'm sure some other people like to switch it up more often than I do. But yeah, so those are my favorite tools in the practice room, and I'll see you in the next episode.